Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of CRATV, where we talk about politics, policy, and politicians from a conservative perspective right here in the great state of California. So please take a moment, like and share the program so that your friends can know where the conversation is taking place. And also remember, in both cases, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. And make sure in both cases that you hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we go live with the program so that you can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. Now, I'm hoping that you're enjoying this program, enjoying, for many of you, your time at home as you are sheltered in here in the great state of California as we deal with COVID-19 and the challenge that is facing, that is gripping the entire world. And we appreciate the fact that all of you are being responsible in protecting those who are most vulnerable among us, protecting them and keeping them safe from the virus. Now, one of the things that's happening, and then it has been somewhat reported, but not really widely reported, has to do with businesses being closed and shuttered. And many municipalities throughout the state of California decided to issue stay-at-home orders, as well as then eventually the state issued stay-at-home orders. And included in those stay-at-home orders was a list of businesses that were allowed to stay open because they were essential, or businesses or places where you could go because, once again, they were considered essential. Well, interestingly, amongst those were that were considered essential were grocery stores and businesses that provide groceries to grocery stores. Also included with those businesses media was considered an essential business. Interestingly, marijuana dispensaries were considered essential businesses. Restaurants, and all these things were considered essential businesses. But for some reason, in some municipalities, gun stores were not considered to be essential businesses. And in many cases, you had people just before the lockdown took place, before the statewide lockdown, or shelter in place order went down. You had many people who had rushed out to firearms retailers to purchase ammunition and or firearms. In many cases, they were first time, or at least they hadn't purchased firearms in a very, very long time. It was so bad. So many people had purchased firearms, they had to take the firearm safety exam. They eventually wound up crashing the system that one would use to take, that is required to use to take the exam. That's how many people were taking the exam in order to purchase firearms. And you had people who were frustrated because they couldn't take firearms home with them. They were also upset because there was a 10-day waiting period. In fact, one only need watch, some of these videos on Facebook and on YouTube of gun store owners or see their posts where they're just frustrated with people who've never bought guns for, because these first-time gun owners are upset because they didn't realize how cumbersome the laws were when it came to exercising their constitutional right, because they weren't bothering to exercise it. Well, there are two instances in particular that have come out in the media where you had governments who were basically telling gun stores they had to close. One was the sheriff of Los Angeles County. Now, this was after the county of Los Angeles had already deemed gun stores to be essential businesses. The sheriff decided, he doesn't think so, and he believed that they should be closed. In fact, he actually put out in the press that he was saying buying a gun was a bad idea. Then you also had the mayor of San Jose, which was one of the first municipalities that was forcing gun stores to close and close to any business during the lockdown period. So anyway, to talk about this and to talk about what actions are taking place or what to do about this or what has happened, we have with us a good friend of the program. You guys have seen him on the program before, Mr. Sam Paradas of California Gun Owners. Sam, welcome to the program.
Craig, it's always a pleasure to be with you.
Sir, okay. These are crazy times. But this is especially crazy times. Do me a favor and kind of just give us a quick update on what's going on with gun stores and the idea of being an essential business.
Well, Craig, as most of your listeners have probably heard, throughout America, there are many states and jurisdictions that are absolutely declaring firearms dealers as essential businesses, not only because they provide the access for people to exercise their Second Amendment rights, but they also provide all kinds of other things that are necessary in a crisis: camping materials, survival materials, emergency food supplies, things that are essential for people to survive a disaster, a critical emergency situation. Here in California, we've seen a little bit of a patchwork. The vast majority of sheriffs have taken a very strong stand and said that gun stores are essential businesses and will remain open. Even some of our pawn shops, who happen to be financial institutions as well, and those have been declared as essential businesses. So law enforcement in certain jurisdictions have tried everything they can to shut down some of these gun stores, as was attempted in Los Angeles. And they closed them, and then they stopped, and then they closed them, and then they stopped. And as of this morning, I think cooler heads have prevailed, and the sheriff of Los Angeles County has reversed his position on closing down gun stores in Los Angeles County. Of course, there were cities within his jurisdiction that said, forget you, we think that gun stores are essential, and we're going to let them continue to be open. So there was a little bit of a tug of war. There are other places like Ventura, Fresno, and the Bay Area where there are still ongoing efforts to close gun stores down, in the Bay Area in particular, where they have actually closed them down. But there are legal efforts going on right now to turn that over, and that's a beautiful thing. So your Second Amendment community, gun owners of California, CRPA, NRA, everybody, FPC, we're all fighting right now. As you can tell, I'm not in my home. I'm in my office all alone, but here nonetheless working with our partners to push back.
Well, I mean, first of all, being a Second Amendment advocate or a firearms lobbyist, in the state legislature, they generally tend to keep their space away from us, as it was anyway. So we were already experiencing social distancing well before this, so we're used to it.
Greg, you have a way with words, brother. True to the point, but you're right. The anti-gunners don't like our deodorant, so that's all right. That's okay.
So, all right. So let me ask you, once again, going along with that. Now, the mayor of San Jose seems to be pretty dug in terms of saying that gun stores are not essential. First of all, I think at least, especially when it comes to the statewide order, I don't know where that is a problem, gun stores not being essential. But in some of these local orders, I mean, in cases like San Jose, how is it that a marijuana dispensary is considered essential, but an entity that is responsible or tasked with allowing community residents to exercise their fundamental constitutional right, how is that not considered an essential business?
Craig, I love you. You're always trying to make sense out of the senseless, and that's the problem. It doesn't make sense. It is irrational. We're hearing rumors that some communities are allowing GameStop video game stores to remain open as essential businesses so that people will have something to do when they're locked up in their homes. I cannot explain what goes through their mind. Hang on a second. My automatic light just turned off.
Well, that's
there we
always
go.
Cool. All right, go ahead and start it over, and I can always edit it.
Okay. Craig, you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make any sense. We have politicians who are just anti-gun above anything else, and that would aptly describe the mayor of San Jose. And of course, recreational marijuana during this time, I guess, is leaving all of the video stores open so that people will have something to do when they're stuck at home. But
I guess what they're thinking with the marijuana dispensaries, at least people won't care that they're stuck at home.
But it'll make them very into the store to get munchies,
Exactly. Well, then they'll have to use like a delivery service or something like that.
Yeah. That's true.
Let's switch your gears just a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a lot of people who had been purchasing firearms that either hadn't purchased in the last 5 years or had never purchased a firearm. And have you seen the videos that are on Facebook and on YouTube of gun store owners who are just livid with some of these folks and their insistence on, all right, why can't I take my gun home with me now? And why do I have to take this test? And why is there a 10-day waiting period? I mean, have you been following any of that? And if so, what's your thought on it?
Absolutely, we have been following that, and that might be one of the beneficial outcomes of this disaster, this emergency, is that you know, everybody is telling everybody you have to hunker down at home. You are your own first line of defense. Finally, starting to realize, oh my gosh, I am my own. What do I have to defend myself with? Well, yes, I can exercise social distancing, but what happens if somebody else wants to take resources that I have? What do I have to defend myself? The tool available to them is a firearm. So they are, for the first time, they're realizing that since they are their own police department or their own sheriff's department, they have to go and get the tools necessary in the case of a disaster. Now, people will say, "Oh, you're crying wolf." To go 4 weeks ago, how many people would have in this international pandemic with resulting and everything that's going on is crazy. Well, you know what? It's not crazy to think that worse. And people are realizing that. I've talked to many gun stores who've said, I have a whole bunch of people that are liberal Democrats who have always been anti-gun, but now they realize they need a gun. We need to carry that forward so that once this is all done, they will understand that it isn't us, but it is their government and their elected officials that have made it to immediately access critical self that they should have access to. 10-day waiting periods, background checks, all of these safety protocols, that, you know, the firearm safety certificate. The only benefit of that is that is they're going to receive.
Right.
There's also criticism by grabbers that say, all these new people that have guns, they're going to have accidents, they're going to shoot their spouses at home and all. That's a load of sheep dip, you know. Every survey, every study conducted has proven that when people to purchase firearms, they are safe. And that is proven out by the number of accidents that occur nationwide, especially here in California. So, yes, brand new gun owners, and we want to bring them into the fold and remind them that it is some elected that have made it nearly impossible for them to defend themselves.
Well, you are 100% correct, and we, for people that I know who just went and got firearms. First of all, I always encourage a new gun owner, look, go get training. The most important thing you can do is to get training. Learn how to be safe and efficient and effective with your firearm. It's a tool, right? And the more you train, the more you practice with the tool, the better you get with it. The more instruction you receive with that tool, the better you are with it. But all that having been said, it is still just a tool. And I think that a lot of people, to be honest with you, before I owned a gun, I didn't know anything about guns before I bought one. And then when I got one of the first things that I did was started taking classes, started training, started working to understand both my rights and my responsibilities under the law. And I think every gun owner should do that. But I just think that in this particular time, and you're seeing a lot of people who are promoting that online, encouraging new gun owners to go and to take classes and to get proficient. But I also think that this wake-up call is going to be a chance for, maybe an initiative of some kind to help undo a lot of this stuff. Because now people have actual experience with the gun laws. Most people didn't care how inconvenient it was. They didn't care how much it subverted their rights because they didn't own a gun. And now that they've attempted to exercise that right, Now they know just how challenging and just how complicated these laws are. And oh, by the way, I'm quite sure criminals who needed a gun had absolutely no problem getting one.
100%, Craig. You just hitting the nail on the head and burying it deep into the wood, man. Um, things right now is that a lot of the gun ranges where training have closed down, are closed. I don't know that they've been closed down as non-essential businesses or what, but volunteers that operate many of the ranges and the staff that are the privately owned ranges are under a stay-at-home edict. So Californians are, I have every confidence they're going to be careful with the tools that they have.
Yep. Yeah.
The minimal amount of training they will receive when they, with the California, the firearm safety certificate is going to be safe.
Yeah.
As we make it through this process. They'll know how to handle it safely, how to load it. And I too am a huge advocate of training. Massive.
Well, I agree. I agree with you. I'm just saying, I am sure that once we are through this, this emergency, I am positive that that's what I'm encouraging people. Once we're beyond this, that then, as life starts to return to normal, that's what I'm referring to, the idea of them taking that training or getting those classes or whatever it is, because
absolutely,
once again, for every, it's a right, but it's also a responsibility. And we need to make sure. I don't believe in government mandating it, because I think studies have shown that when you mandate training, people take the absolute minimum. But when you encourage training, people generally tend to take more than what would have been considered the minimum amount of training.
Right. Be with you 100%.
Anyway, sir. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the program. I'm sure we're going to have more to talk about. Hopefully, this whole shelter-in-place order will be gone soon, and we'll be able to go out and about and enjoy the shooting sports. Although I know that you have the availability to be able to do that at your someplace, at a location close to you. Lucky you, but
Craig,
little slice of America in California.
Should be so blessed. Yes, that's right.
Hey, do me a favor. Let everybody once again know about Gun Owners of California and how they can get in contact with you and follow and support your work.
Especially during this difficult time when we are not hold our fundraising events that really is going, keeps us fighting for your rights. We need your support. We need you to become members and make a contribution to Gun Owners of California. Continue to feed attorneys and the staff people that are fighting for your rights. Go to our website at gunownersca.com, GUNOWNERS. Become a member, become a donor. To stay armed and informed. If you are and you have questions, communicate with us. Send us an email. We'll do everything we can. It's a difficult time and to talk to as many people as possible. We will get through this together. America, and this is California, and we will fight together. But people who are going to take advantage of this to try to prevent us from exercising our rights. Now is the time we need to fight more than ever. And Craig, I want to thank you again for the opportunity, listeners. Look forward to talking with you. It's always stimulating, and I always learn something from you. So
well, thank you, sir. I very much appreciate you coming on. I very, very much appreciate all the leadership and guidance and mentorship you've provided to me. So thank you once again. We'll have you on again real soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
Mr. Sam Paredes. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's it for this edition of CRATV. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program. We appreciate you telling your friends about the California Republican Assembly. We are the conscience of the Republican Party. You guys take care. We'll talk to you again real soon.